Welcome back to Anime Time. I'm sure when you watch Assassination Classroom, everyone knows about the compilation list of KORO Sensei's weaknesses, right? It's a long list with a total of 40 weaknesses. Have you ever wondered what all those weaknesses are? In today's video, we will explore all 40 weaknesses of KORO Sensei together. Please note that there will be a few weaknesses that I will skim through quickly because we don't have much information about them. And now, let's start the video. First weakness. KORO tends to expose vulnerabilities when trying to appear cool. This is KORO Sensei's first weakness. When he tries to appear cool or engage in flashy actions, KORO Sensei will reveal vulnerabilities that are not usually noticeable. Second weakness. Easily loses composure. KORO Sensei is someone who easily loses composure in unexpected situations. Just something that unsettles KORO Sensei will make him lose composure and vulnerable to attack. This is the most noticeable weakness of his. In the series, there are many instances where KORO Sensei loses composure when faced with unforeseen circumstances. Third, bad temper. KORO Sensei has a bad temper and often behaves like a child. He usually doesn't allow students to touch his belongings and forbids them from eating his food. Moreover, KORO Sensei often teases others and makes them uncomfortable. A typical victim of this is Mr. Karasuma. Fourth, weak punches like overcooked noodles. Although KORO Sensei has the appearance of a giant octopus, possessing strength like a monster with characteristics far beyond ordinary humans. However, he has weak punches that are so feeble they couldn't kill a mosquito. Fifth weakness, breasts. No matter how much your personality or appearance changes, you can't change your essence. KORO Sensei, despite becoming a giant octopus, is still a man. And of course, no man doesn't like breasts. And the first time he met Irina Sensei, he was attracted by her breasts and forgot the way home. Additionally, KORO Sensei also keeps a stack of cool women's bikini magazines. It's terrifying. Sixth weakness, sucking up to superiors. Despite his strength, KORO Sensei is ultimately just a school teacher, so he is very afraid of his superiors. He will always yield to them in order to request a raise and seek support. Seventh weakness, impatience with puzzles. KORO Sensei lacks the patience to engage in puzzle-solving games. He often appears bored and uninterested when playing such games. When encouraged by everyone in Class E to participate, KORO Sensei will find a way to escape. Eighth weakness, motion sickness. Despite being an octopus capable of flying at speeds up to Mach 20, about 24,500 kilometers per hour, KORO Sensei is very susceptible to motion sickness when facing ordinary modes of transportation. This explains why he rarely travels with Class E on regular train journeys to other places. Ninth weakness, unable to sleep on an unfamiliar pillow. Many people suffer from the condition of not being able to sleep in a strange place, on an unfamiliar chair, or feeling nostalgic for their old school. Our KORO Sensei suffers from a different peculiar condition. He cannot sleep on someone else's pillow that is not his own. So when traveling far, KORO Sensei must bring his own pillow. 10th weakness, concerned about his image. In many situations where KORO Sensei is forced to use violence or behave differently from his usual self, he always fears that he will tarnish his image in the eyes of Class E students. 11th weakness, unable to eat hot food. KORO Sensei's tongue is very sensitive to temperature, especially hot food. He cannot eat anything with a high temperature and must cool it down before eating. 12th weakness, misba. Yes, indeed, our beloved teacher has the personality of a character we strongly dislike, the busybody neighbor. He often eavesdrops on gossip and doesn't miss anything. Whenever, wherever, if something happens, you can be sure KORO Sensei will know about it. 13th weakness, easily moved by trivial things. When watching a romantic movie, a comedy, a horror film, or even an animated movie, KORO Sensei can cry over trivial scenes that no one else understands. 14th weakness, absorbs moisture. KORO Sensei easily absorbs water when in a high humidity environment. This weakness makes me feel like KORO Sensei is like a food storage pack. 15th weakness, easily influenced by others' words. KORO Sensei is very susceptible to being distracted and influenced by others' thoughts. He lacks firmness in decisions he makes, as just a few people influencing his decisions can leave KORO Sensei confused and unsure whether to proceed with his intentions. 16th weakness, becomes vulnerable after changing skin. Once a month, KORO Sensei has a personal defense tactic for unexpected attacks, changing his skin. KORO Sensei's skin has durability and resilience to the extent that it can withstand even bullets. But after each skin change, his body becomes vulnerable for a short period due to losing the protection of his skin. 17th weakness, vulnerable after regeneration. When losing a tentacle on his body, KORO Sensei easily regenerates it in an instant. However, after regeneration, KORO Sensei experiences reduced speed and strength for a short period. 18th weakness, freezes when exposed to certain bright lights. KORO Sensei cannot move when exposed to certain bright lights directly onto him. He becomes stunned and remains fixed in one position. 19th weakness, embarrassed after appearing serious. While KORO Sensei always jokes and laughs with the members of Class E, there are times when he appears very serious with his students. After doing so, KORO Sensei feels embarrassed and extremely awkward about his actions. Weakness 20, can only draw simple things. Despite being skilled in many areas, KORO Sensei is not good at drawing. He cannot draw complex shapes and can only manage simple ones like circles and squares. Weakness 21, very strict in swimming. KORO Sensei is highly strict when it comes to managing his students during swimming activities. He focuses on observing each student individually and continuously reminds them excessively about pool regulations. This often makes many members of Class E uncomfortable as they are not able to enjoy swimming freely. Weakness 22, cannot swim. Despite being strict about swimming safety, KORO Sensei himself cannot swim. This personal weakness becomes ironic as Class E has to follow the instructions in the pool from someone who cannot swim. Weakness 23, afraid of heat. Not only is KORO Sensei's tongue sensitive to heat, but he himself is also sensitive to hot weather, especially during scorching summer days. When teaching on such days after class, he immediately flies away to find a place to escape the summer heat. Weakness 24, cowardice. Do you remember the episode where KORO Sensei led everyone into a cave and pretended to be a ghost to play on the emotions of the Class E members? He disguised himself as a musician, told spooky stories to scare everyone, and the result was backfiring. Trying to inflict the same pain he endured throughout the session, KORO Sensei was the most terrified one. Weakness 25, will feel useless if unable to gather everyone together. Weakness 26, loves gossiping. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our teacher officially becomes a gossip monger with a passion for chatting with others. Weakness 27, tone deaf. I guess I don't need to say much about this weakness because the name says it all. Weakness 28, terrible at disguises. Anyone watching the show would know that KORO Sensei is terrible at disguises, so much so that his students would exclaim, "Oh, Sensei's trying to disguise himself? I'll pretend I didn't see anything." Weakness 29, overacting. KORO Sensei has a strong artistic flair. He enjoys drama and acting in films. Whenever he has the opportunity to participate in such activities, KORO Sensei tends to overreact and make everything chaotic. Weakness 30, heart. Perhaps I don't need to say much. This video has been quite gentle with KORO Sensei and everyone, hasn't it? Weakness 31, often delusional about his role. Weakness 32, fear of getting injured. Despite being extremely powerful, KORO Sensei dislikes getting injured. He often avoids collisions and fights as much as possible. There was even a time when KORO Sensei mentioned wanting to buy insurance to ensure compensation if he encountered any problems. But of course, that's unlikely to happen anytime soon. Weakness 33, difficult to regain composure. As I mentioned earlier, KORO Sensei easily loses his composure in unusual situations, and more importantly, he finds it difficult to regain his composure in the blink of an eye. This is very disadvantageous for KORO Sensei in battles. Weakness 34, KORO Sensei is not knowledgeable about football. Weakness 35, easily gets angry while driving. For someone who is accustomed to moving at Mach 20 like KORO Sensei, driving with him is quite a challenge. There was a time when he had to drive Nagisa home by car, and KORO Sensei was very annoyed having to wait at red lights and sit in the cramped space of the car. Weakness 36. Afraid of downsizing. Here we can't help but mention it. Someone who has a bounty of 30 billion yen on their head is extremely poor when they are always afraid of being downsized and losing their job. Weakness 37. If all the tentacles are tightly held, KORO Sensei completely loses the ability to move. Weakness 38. Inadvertently says hurtful things to others. KORO Sensei is very prone to unintentionally hurting others with his careless words. Immediately afterward, he may bow down to apologize profusely. Weakness 39. Often ruins the mood in important moments. No matter the situation or how sad it may be, KORO Sensei can easily ruin it. The last weakness is also the biggest weakness. At the same time, it is also KORO Sensei's motivation. This weakness is none other than Class E. He can sacrifice everything, even his own life, to protect the members of Class E. It can be said that Class E is everything to KORO Sensei during those days. So, we have summarized all 40 weaknesses of KORO Sensei. It's indeed quite a long list, isn't it? In the anime, KORO Sensei only has 36 weaknesses. The additional weaknesses were included. The order of the weaknesses in the video also does not follow the sequence in the anime. Thank you all for watching the entire video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Anime Time for us to have more motivation to make the next videos.